Viewers, even as we speak, Israel is closing in on Gaza City. The Israeli military is poised to enter the inner sanctum of Hamas leadership to smoke out the terrorists that struck it on October 7. The latest from the front is that Gaza City is surrounded and a huge engagement is underway. Some Israeli soldiers have also lost their lives. That's because most of the Hamas soldiers, or terrorists rather as they are called in Israel, come out of their tunnels, take pot shots and duck down again. But Israel is going ahead with the operations because it believes that it faces an existential threat from the Hamas and its ideological supporters. And Israel, viewers, may not be wrong. Over the last few weeks, pro-Hamas protests have broken out across the world. Even here in India, the Islamo-leftist axis is one-sidedly attacking Israel, trying to discredit its reasons for wiping out Hamas by striking deep in Gaza. Sample this from the chief of the Jamaat Ulama-e-Hind, Arshad Madani. He's also, of course, the boss, the principal, as he calls himself, of the Deoband Seminary. And also, viewers, listen in to a former Hamas senior official, Ghazi Hamad, as he threatens Israel with total liquidation. Both these individuals, viewers, from DC, Deoband and Doha, all threatening Israel with end. Final solution. Listen to this.
अपने हक के लिए जान देने के लिए आज दुनिया के अंदर कोई ताकत ऐसी नहीं जैसे उन्होंने अपने सर से कफन बांध करके एक बड़ी ताकत के साथ लड़ रहे हैं। इसराइल की सूरत यह है कि दुनिया का जो असलहा अमेरिका के पास है वो इसराइल के पास भी है। वहाँ की फौज आने के लिए आपने क्या दुनिया ने नहीं देखा कि अमेरिका का सदर आया है और आकर के हाथ मिला रहा है और ये कह रहा है कि हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं। इसके बावजूद वो एक ताकत जो निहत्ती ताकत थी वो अपने सर से कफन बांध के ऐसे आए कि चने शब्बा दिए लोहे कि आज इसराइल को, इसलिए आप उसे दहशतगर्द कैसे कहते हैं? ज़मीन उनकी है, वो बस रहे हैं। इसराइल ने उनको अपना गुलाम बना रखा है।
इसराइल दौला ला मुकाम लहा अला अर्दना, احنا الدولة لابد أن نزيلها لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك احنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوة، إنه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه احنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات.
Everything we do is justified, says Hamad. Viewers, everything we do. The means matter more to them than the ends. That means you can butcher children, defenseless women, you can rape, you can burn, you can do anything to achieve your end. Viewers, this is terrorist talk. And those that are giving them platform are actually enabling anti-Jew hatred. There's no other way of looking at it. Not just them, but protesting rights activists, mostly Muslims, are ripping off posters of missing hostages. Can you believe it, viewers? Look at that picture on the left of your screens. Two women caught ripping off pictures of missing hostages. This is not a rational action. This is an action that stems from hate. It is, viewers, giving, in effect, an absolute whitewash to the war crimes committed or the crimes against humanity committed by the Hamas. Others are busy marking out Jewish homes in the ultimate expression of anti-Semitic hate, the kind of hate that we saw during World War II, where Jews were forced to wear armbands, viewers, armbands here with the Star of Israel so they could be identified for torture right on the street. Some are also trying to shame their governments in changing their endorsement of Israel's right to defend itself. On your extreme right of your screens is a video of US Secretary of State Antony Blinken being jeered for America endorsing Israel's counteroffensive. And this is happening in a Senate hearing, viewers, right in the US Capitol building. Look at that. Look at those pictures. And if I play out the audio, you'll be shocked of what is being demanded, what is being asked for. It's all one-sided. Of course, viewers, it's important to listen because no one should claim that we are misrepresenting facts. So let's listen to this huge expression of sympathy for the Hamas.
Russia's aggression against Ukraine, not in the face of an intensifying strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific and around the world.
If the witness will suspend, and I ask that everyone again respect this hearing, we will suspend until the room is cleared.
Is calling for a ceasefire. Shame on you all. The world is calling for a ceasefire. The American people don't want to support this brutal war. Stop the war. Stop the ceasefire now. Stop funding this brutal massacre that Israel is doing on the people of Gaza. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Thank you, Senator Blinken, if you can continue.
Ceasefire now, ceasefire now. Ceasefire to do what, viewers? To allow the Hamas to regroup, to allow the Hamas to get their hands on all the aid that is going to come through. To do what, viewers? To re-establish the tyranny on the Gaza Strip? Is that what these people want? This is an attempt at whitewashing, viewers, the crimes of Hamas and ring fencing it. Of course, when these activists are confronted on their Islamophobia, rather their Israelophobia, they're quick to respond by suggesting that they are supporting Palestinian right to live and not the Hamas. They draw a distinction, viewers. But this is a weak argument. It isn't easy to make a clear distinction between the Hamas and ordinary Palestinians today. Why am I saying this, viewers? I'm not talking in thin air. Let's not all be blind to what has been happening in Gaza for about a decade and a half. Here are some hard facts that will help you put things into perspective for yourselves, viewers. They say that don't conflate ordinary Palestinians with the Hamas. The Hamas is tyrannical. It rules by force. Well, viewers, let me tell you, in 2023, Hamas wins the university elections in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Yes, students linked to Fatah, which dominates the Palestinian Authority, were defeated by groups linked to Hamas. This is happening on the ground. Bellwether student votes show growing support for Hamas. Hamas popularity growing in West Bank, where it won the Birzeit University poll for the first time since 2015. This all happened in 2023, viewers, earlier this year. These are ordinary Palestinians voting for the Hamas and not for the Palestinian Authority or any other group. Hamas that swears by the total elimination of Israel in its charter of governance. It doesn't believe in a two-state solution. Clearly, all the Gazans and those who are voting, including in the West Bank, for the Hamas don't believe in the two-state solution. They don't want Israel to exist. They don't want Jews around, simply, viewers. In 2022, Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research, the PSPSR survey, shows vast majority, 65% and 84% support armed groups in both West Bank and Gaza respectively. These Gazans are saying anything but the PLA, which is of course the political and diplomatic representative of the Palestinians. They want armed struggle against Israel. Well, they're getting it, viewers. They're getting it. They attacked Israel. They butchered innocent babies. They've taken hostages. They've raped women. And now, viewers, when the Israelis are hitting back, they're saying war crime. All of this is an attempt, viewers, to enable what we are seeing through votes that are happening in the Gaza Strip, which is, viewers, very simply this: overwhelming support for the tactics that Hamas is using to bleed Israel. In 2021, the PSPRSR survey, the same survey, showed only a 50% plus support for Hamas and dwindling support for PA, the Palestinian Authority. So you can see that changes from 50% to 84%. Now, viewers, the support for Hamas is only growing. The support for military action through these cowardly means against Israel is only growing, because that's what the Hamas says it does. And I want to open this up because we need to ask these questions tonight. Destroy Israel on lips. Protesters are crossing the line. Hamas is getting a platform. Is anti-Jew hate being enabled That's the fundamental question. Whether it is, viewers, here in Deoband, in Kerala, Doha, or DC. Let's open this up. That question being brought tonight to you by Motorola. That's it. It's on your screens. And viewers, we go straight into the debate tonight. And this is an important inflection point in this war. Because as I told you, Israel has ring-fenced the city, Gaza City, and it's about to enter. Anything can happen from here on. We have with us some very credible voices from all sides of the divide. We have Indian voices, we have Palestinian voices, we also have Israeli voices on the show, and I want to go straight to the fundamental questions this evening because these questions matter, and I want to begin very clearly with some of our guests, and I want to first begin with the representative from Israel. She represents, in fact, she's the mayor of Jerusalem, and she has been on this show earlier also. I want to ask you, Madam Nahum, and this is an important question, Fleur Hassan Nahum, very important question tonight. How do you see this backlash that is erupting around the world to what is being called now increasingly as Jewish Israeli war crimes on innocent Gazans?
So first of all, good evening, and thank you for promoting me. I'm only the Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, and thank you for having me back on your show. So, look, ultimately, first of all, I don't think that any normal country who's been attacked in the brutal way that Israel was attacked on October 7th, killing cruelly only civilians, 1,300 babies, women, elderly, children, by a terrorist group with an ideology to kill not just all the Jews in the state of Israel, but to kill all the Jews around the world. This is in the charter of Hamas. This is their ideology. And of course, it ties into the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood, and it ties into the ideology of the Taliban and Hezbollah, and essentially all the evil people in the world that want to bring us back 500 years. Into a caliphate of fundamentalism. And what we saw on October 7th is unbridled hatred, unbridled cruelty and savagery. And Israel has nothing but to defend their people. In fact, it is their obligation to defend their people. And that's what we're doing today. We take huge precautions not to hit civilians, but unfortunately, Hamas uses civilians as human shields. It's made its complete army, its terror infrastructure underground, almost 20 stories underground, under people's houses, under hospitals, under mosques, completely intertwining itself with the civilian population, essentially to put them in harm's way. And so what we see around the world, if people are condemning Israel, then they're being hypocritical, because if it was their country and their babies being taken hostage and butchered, they would expect their government to do everything, A, to restore and to bring back the hostages, and B, to defend their countries essentially from an existential threat. And so what I believe we're seeing around the world is condemnation of Israel disguised. Really, it's anti-Semitism. It's a culture that is teaching to dehumanize Jewish people as well as Christians, of course. And this is what we're seeing, not just here in Israel, but we're seeing it everywhere around the world.
Okay, let me bring in Mohammad Nazib. Mohammad Nazib, we've all seen that Russia TV report where a journalist goes down a rabbit hole, really, beautifully cemented, and he goes down almost like he was going down in some Berlin bunker occupied by the Nazis. Goes all the way down 20 floors. Why does the Hamas need to hide? Can you answer this question, Mohammad Najib? Why does the Hamas need to hide? What is it hiding? Why does it need to live underground in tunnels? And if it is in harm's way, why shouldn't all the Gazans be in those tunnels? If Hamas represents the people of Gaza, why are they in it and not the people? Why are the people left on top to face whatever is coming their way?
Yeah, first of all, let's agree about the leading of your show that the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is religious. It's not religious, it's a political conflict. Since 67 right now, all the Palestinians and the Israeli conflict is a political conflict. Secondly, the representative of the Palestinian people is the Palestinian Authority, is not Hamas. Hamas is not a state group, and it's a group based in Gaza. And until the 6th of November, one day before, October, so one day before the attack at the Israeli towns around Gaza, the Israeli government headed by Netanyahu was allowing the arrival of $30 million every month to the Gaza, to Hamas people in Gaza to maintain their satisfactory, allow their workers to go, send them fuel, whatever they want, and weaken the Palestinian Authority here in the West Bank, which was angered the Palestinians. So that was also failure for the Israeli vision and policy toward Hamas, that they can, by sending the fuel and the money, that can contain Hamas. And Hamas, it's since establishment in 1987, says that it's a resistant group, and sometimes goes to elections, sometimes try to practice politics, sometimes there is have a military wing that believe in resistance and believe in fighting, and that what's happened right now. So it doesn't represent the Palestinians, and I don't think that the Palestinians, even in Gaza or in the West Bank, agreed to kill the Israelis. I regret the murder of any Israeli civilian in Gaza, in Tel Aviv, everywhere, or any Jews who attacked around the world, because this is not the Palestinians. The Palestinians have a little problem. It's with the Israeli occupation, not with the Jews around the world, not with the Jews in Israel. They don't want to see any one Israeli baby or old man or men,
why do
women,
you pay
or man
pensions
killed.
to terrorists? You pay full pensions to every terrorist that kills a Jew. This is the Palestinian Authority. You pay a life pension to everybody that murders a Jew.
Please don't say I am not representing the Palestinian Authority. I am not representing Hamas. I am a security analyst, and I am telling what I see, because I'm covering the Israeli and the Palestinians, the Middle East and North Africa issues.
So explain
Mr.
to me
Najib.
how
So
you
I
can
know
make a
that.
difference.
One second, Mr. Najib.
Yeah,
You see, hang on,
but-
just 1 second, Mr. Najib, 1 second. You began by saying that this is not a religious issue, but a political issue. Now tell me,
Yes.
if that were the case, why would people, ordinary Palestinians, as late as 2023 be electing Hamas that has made it a religious issue? I haven't said it, they've said it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to ask this question before you even ask me that, because I heard you leading about that. I am covering this issue also. It's not far from me, Birzeit University and the other West Bank universities. The problem, sir, is that the Palestinian Authority security coordinate with Israel, respect the signed agreement, but they have, since the beginning of this year, right-wing extremist Israeli government by Beni Gvir and Smotrich that deny the existence of the Palestinian people, want to annex the West Bank, deduct the money of the Palestinian Authority, ignore any political right of the Palestinians.
Okay.
So the people get upset by the Palestinian Authority politically trapped.
No, hang on. All these years, the Hamas has been in power. I think Mr. Ayyar Mitra wants to come in on this point, and I think I'll bring him in because I know he has an intervention to make on this. He's tweeted about this earlier. Abhijit Ayyar Mitra, before I bring in the BJP spokesperson on what is going on here in our own country, viewers. Yes, Abhijit Ayyar Mitra. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Abhijit, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me
Go
now?
ahead. Yes.
Okay. Look, this whole line that it is not about religion is completely false. If Mayor Fleur sitting here converted to Islam today, she would be considered a Palestinian, and they would accept her just fine out there. This is totally about religion. This is totally about killing Jews, number one. Number two, the money was actually transferred. Anybody up to date with the news this morning would know that the Israeli government has taken the decision to transfer the funds, except those that were earmarked for Hamas in Gaza. Third, the Palestinian Authority maintains a fund called the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund. All right. And this is the Palestinian Authority sitting in the West Bank, in Ramallah, that does this. Anybody who kills a Jew or perpetrates an act of political violence against a Jew gets a pension for killing a Jew. Okay. It is the tunnel networks. I want you to look at this. You don't have to believe Israel. Do you believe the UNRWA? Do you believe the UNRWA? Because this is the UNRWA report,
yes,
which shows you a school. They found in the school tunnel networks. I would also point you to the NDTV report that shows from few years back, which shows you Hamas firing from a hotel, which was reserved for international journalists. I would also point you to the interview of Mr. Marzouk, who, you know, the Hindu, a very sort of puff piece interview of him. He is on record. The video I have tweeted out. He says that tunnels are to protect our fighters. The people on top are not our responsibility. They are the responsibility of the UN. You know, I have never seen a more callous. I bet you Israel cares more about the average Gazan than Hamas does. The Gazans are the first and biggest victims of Hamas. To support Hamas is Islamophobia. The biggest Islamophobia is supporting Hamas. Hamas is no friend. Hamas are no Muslims. They are not human beings. And whatever the worst epithets that can be used to them are too mild.
No, but you see, I differ with you a little bit, Mr. Iyer Mitra, because you see, if you can't be a victim, if you're complicit in electing a bunch of terrorists who have a problem with Jews, then there is some other level of complicity going on here. Then you can't be a victim. I'm sorry. And then
there is a complicity, and this has been established in Germany.
I know that people will pick up my clip and say that, look at this heartless character. But if I were heartless, viewers, if I were heartless, I wouldn't be saying that the Egyptians should open the border and allow for the Palestinians to go, to leave, that the rest of the Arab world should step in and allow, using their diplomatic muscle, which they have so much of, to tell Hamas to return the hostages and allow for an exchange, a fair exchange of all those poor Gazans that are caught in the crossfire. But viewers, I'll tell you what is going on in our country. There is an echo here, and it's a very, very, very sad situation, because I want to bring in Shahzad Poonawalla and the left spokesperson here tonight. Islamo-leftists are going out there and they are rationalizing the actions of Hamas, Shahzad Poonawalla. Hamas is getting a platform, and obviously these people think that there is a constituency for this kind of whitewashing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. We've always been told that Indian Muslims would never sign up for violent religious violence anywhere, that they would never go and betray the good faith and join up with these reactionaries and obscurantists. But here, they're cheering on their own leaders who are platforming the Hamas, or who are saying that the Hamas is a bunch of freedom fighters. Shahzad Poonawalla, what is this telling us? We should all be worried, shouldn't we?
No, this is only one thing, that the politics of vote bank has now descended to such a level that even the excuse of Palestine is being used to justify the actions of Hamas on 7th of October. And here are the questions I want to ask. First of all, India's policy is very clear as far as the Israel-Palestine issue is concerned. That's a separate issue. That's an issue of two states which we believe should coexist. Their sovereignty should be protected, but they should get to that position through a negotiated peace process. What is a negotiated peace process? It does not involve taking 1,400 civilians hostage, killing them, maiming them, cutting off babies, chopping them off, or burning citizens or raping them. So therefore, this is not about that. Secondly, please tell me, before 7th of October, none of these worthies, whether it's the AIM-PLB, CWC, or the Congress Party, or several leaders of the left, including Mr. Baby or Mr. Munir, where were their tweets for the Palestinian cause? It only started after Hamas was being called out, and rightly so, for its terror actions. And I have three specific questions to ask. What are the reasons people in India are saying that we support so-called Palestinian cause but actually supporting the Hamas? One, they say that, look, Muslims are being killed, Muslims and innocents are being killed. Well, who's killing people in Yemen? Who's killing the babies in Yemen? It's not the Jews. Who's killing babies and young children in Iraq, Iran, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, Pakistan, Afghanistan? It's different Muslim factions. Have you ever seen the so-called Islamists in India take up a cause? One second, don't interrupt me. Have you ever seen them take up the cause for Yemeni children? Why are you distinguishing between Palestinian children and Yemeni children? Both of them should be equally important for you. Oh, is it because in one case you can blame apparently the Jews, and in the other case it's because the Muslim factions are doing it, so you don't really care? Secondly, if it was about innocent lives of Israelis were lost on 7th of October, 1400 people, and from the Islamic point of view, Surah Al-Ma'idah 532 clearly says that no person who's not involved in war should be taken hostage or killed. Why is it then that the Islamic groups or these people have come out and not condemned Hamas unequivocally? In every condemnation, including the one by the left, whether it's MA Baby or whether it's the Congress Party, they've seemed to rationalize it as a reaction to what Israel is doing. No, Israel is not responsible for what has happened on 7th of October. Hamas is. Why is the onus on Israel? I want to ask a question. If you are so concerned about those innocent lives in Gaza, why don't you tell the Hamas, not in the letter written by Sonia Gandhi, in the article written by Sonia Gandhi, or in AIMPLB statement, none of the places they have told Hamas that, look, leave the 200 hostages, do not kill innocent people, do not take innocent people as hostages, and if you want to go and fight the state of Israel, go onto the borders and fight the state of Israel. Why are you making human shields out of innocent people? Not one person out of them has said Hamas should do this. And by the way, if Hamas is equal to Palestine, how come Palestine in the West Bank has no Hamas? How come Hamas was killing Palestinian Liberation Organization leaders? How come Hamas has been taking their children hostage, has been taking Palestinians also hostage, or has been using them as human shields? And finally, if this is about occupied land, by the way, Israel, theologically speaking and otherwise, came first. But if it is still about occupation by Israel over Palestine, Rahul, I have a simple question to ask. The Chinese occupy Indian territory and they are killing way more Muslims in the Uyghur province, the Uyghur Muslims, the Xinjiang province. Have you ever seen any left leaders call out the Chinese? No. Secondly, Kashmir, the place from where you come, was once upon a time completely Hindu dominated. There were 7 expulsions, genocidal expulsions of the Kashmiri Hindus, and now that land has been taken over. So would they call that as occupation? Would the Islamists who support people support the cause of Palestine here would say that this is also occupation? Would they say that this was Islamic jihad that led to occupation?
It's a very important point, actually. You know, and I can see why the left spokesperson here is getting irritated.
No, I'm not irritated. I'm amused.
Oh, you're amused.
I'm amused because of the diversion.
You're trivializing. I'm trivializing. No, hang on. You're trivializing anti-Jew hate tonight on this show.
I'm trivializing what the BJP spokesperson.
That's amusing you, sir.
I am trivializing what this gentleman has been saying.
Let me ask you a pointed question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Sure.
This Islamo-leftist axis is hypocritical. Let's
be
honest. One second. Where in your statement, show me any of the statements issued by Mr. Yechuri or the Politburo where Hamas has been called a terrorist organization? Show me.
Okay. Now you tell me a single statement where United States of America or the Indian government has issued a statement declaring Hamas as a terrorist organization.
Sir,
there is none.
America has declared Hamas
I'm not
a
bothered
terror
about
organization.
America. Talk about India, talk about United Nations.
A quick response.
No. Now let me complete.
No, just one second. Let me respond to you. Since you asked that question. Get the answer, then you can come to the second. Yes.
Let me address that question. Forget just about being declared in India. In fact, India's objection to the resolution in United Nations was that it did not have the amendment which we were seeking, that Hamas should be called a terror group and its action should be called a terror action. So we took it to the international platform. By the way, United Nations has not called any Hindu group as a Hindu terror group. Why do you keep saying Hindu terror? But here,
it's a very important point. It's a very important point.
Being justified by you as a freedom fighter.
Palestine, and let me speak,
one second.
Has United Nations called any group Hindu terror group?
Yes, exactly. Vivek Srivastava, you are constantly abusing the Hindu RSS, suggesting it's a terrorist organization. Has it been deemed one? Anywhere in the world?
I never said it's a terrorist organization. We said it flares up the communal passions.
You say it's a religious terror organization.
It divides people.
You have used the word.
They are using the government machinery to spread communal hatred. I say that. I never said it's a terrorist organization.
Look at these.
Now, let me speak.
They quickly back off. I will show you 100 examples, sir.
Now, let me speak.
No, 1 second. Where the RSS is associated by you and your ilk with the Lashkar-e-Toiba and other Islamist organizations.
If you are divisive in a complex country like India with so many castes and creeds and religions, then yes.
No. I'm sorry.
I never said it's a terrorist organization.
Hindutva terror, Hindutva terror does exist. RSS promotes Hindutva in this country, so you're calling it a terror organization. Has it been declared one? No, hang on. You've been caught out. Now, I just want to ask you the second question, which is very important. Very important. Why doesn't your resolution, at least the Indian government has come out and condemned the Hamas. The Indian government has said that terror has no place. The Indian government in the United Nations refused to vote against Israel.
Because you're too weak.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, let me finish.
You throw the American line.
It wanted There was not an American
Yes,
line, sir. It was a
the
Canadian
Indian
line,
government
and
is
India
weak
and
enough
Canada
today
don't
to be
have.
following
Hang
what
on,
the
it was a
Americans asked
resolution
them to do.
moved by Canada, and India and Canada are not on the best of terms right now. It was supported by 42 other countries, including America. It was supported by the United Kingdom. It was supported by New Zealand. It was supported by Australia. It was supported by Japan.
I am against American imperialism.
Sir, Japan fought America in
I
a world
endorse
war.
Mahatma Gandhi and
Excuse
Nelson
me.
Mandela.
Excuse me.
Who wanted an independent Palestinian state, and that is why I'll say long live Palestine.
But Hamas doesn't even want that.
Yes. Okay.
Hamas
and
wants
the
to
Israelis have
eviscerate.
encroached their land. I am against October 7th. I am against the death of the innocent Jewish people.
Are you against
we
the
stood
Han
for the
Chinese
Jews
occupation?
in the
Are you
Holocaust
against
and
the
fought
Han
Hitler?
Chinese
But
occupation?
today, if Israel
Excuse
is going
me.
to do the same to the Palestinians, we will say then Israel should be condemned in the same words as Hamas.
Okay.
Violence is violence.
Vivek
9,000
Srivastava.
innocent Palestinians have been killed. I condemn it. And if you call Hamas a terror
Do you
organization,
condemn?
call Israel a terror
Do
state
you
also.
condemn the Hamas terror attack? Do you condemn it?
Everybody has said it.
I
Violence is
want
bad.
you to name the Hamas as a terror organization
No, I will
right
not.
now.
Till the
You will
Indian
not.
government asks me to.
Viewers.
Violence is bad. I'm against
Viewers,
what happened on October 7th.
viewers, 1 minute,
but
1
Israel is also a terror state. If you call Hamas a terror state, also call Israel a terror state.
I want to go back.
Let's
I want
call
to go
both.
back. 1 second.
Let's
I
call
want to
both. I'll call both.
1 second. 1 second. Viewers, remember the PFI?
Can I just come in?
1 second. The PFI. The PFI was the Popular Front of India, viewers. For years altogether, it wasn't declared by anyone as a terror organization. But a left chief minister, Mr. Achyutanandan, called it one. He said it was an extremist terror organization that was actually dangerous. The Indian government at that time hadn't declared the PFI as a terror organization. That's the left for you, viewers. When it suits them, it's okay. They will not condemn the occupation of Han China of Uyghur Xinjiang province. They will not do it.
No, as American propaganda, Rahul.
That's American
It's
propaganda. People are
Let's
dying
not
and
toe the
being
American
incinerated.
line.
Are being incinerated.
I'm against.
Are
The
being
deputy mayor is over
incinerated
here. The deputy
in
mayor is
concentration
over here.
camps. Very
And-
quickly.
And Israel is almost, it's depending for arms and money on the
Nahum,
Americans, deputy mayor.
Ms. Nahum,
and
a
that
quick
needs to be
response.
condemned.
1 second.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
the
1 second,
American
1
money
second.
and
Let's get a
battles
response.
against the
You're making a lot of accusations. There are two individuals here who are going to respond to you. Yes. 1 second, Ms. Nahum and Shadad to have the last word. Yes. 1 second. Ms. Nahum, first, go ahead. Respond to this guy. 1 minute.
I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be responding to, but a short
He is
history
saying-
lesson.
He is saying
Yes,
that
go ahead.
Israel is equally a terror state. If the Hamas is a terror organization, so is Israel. Very quick response.
Well, of course, it's completely ridiculous and it's a blood libel. Let's start with a little history lesson for those people here who have forgotten. In 1948, just as India was getting its independence, the UN offered a two-state solution. The Israelis, the Jews said yes, the Palestinian leadership said no. The 5 Arab armies around Israel came to destroy an existential war, which we won by some miracle. Again in 1967, they tried to destroy us, which we won. The same in 1973, and the same in the two Lebanon wars.
Both the battles you
The
are encroaching the
problem
Palestinian
is-
land, my lady.
The main problem
One second.
is that the main problem is this. I, like most Israelis, are willing to accept the self-determination of the Palestinian people.
Yes.
The problem is that ideologically, the Palestinian people and the Islamic jihadi fundamentalism has not accepted the existence of Israel.
you return
And so
back
I
the land
ask
of the
you,
innocent
do
Palestinians,
you
there will be no
accept
war.
the existence of Israel?
Oh my
Do you
God. You have
accept the
taken their
existence of
land.
Israel? Answer my
You have
question.
There won't be a
upon their
war.
land.
There
Answer my
won't be a
question.
war.
Do you accept the existence of Israel?
Obviously, yes. When we
Well, there you
what
go.
we do as a
So
country,
now we can
when
start
we say you,
talking.
but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean
There-
we
no, no, no.
encroach upon the
One
Palestinian
second,
land.
one
which
second,
you have.
one second. They haven't.
Return back their land.
Excuse
We haven't
me.
stolen any
Israel
land.
has walked out
We
of
have
Gaza
won
and the West
every
Bank. Don't you
war.
even know your
I have
facts?
not
No. The map of
started
1948
second.
and the map of
Shadad Punala, quick one.
2023 are not
Yes,
the same.
Mr. Mitra also wants to come in. Very quick. One point. Yes.
You know, Rahul, I
Yeah.
hope Vivek won't interrupt me and
He
he'll be a
won't.
gentleman
Quick,
because
quick,
he made a
quick
promise
one.
to me that
Yes.
he won't interrupt me in more debates. Now,
Yeah.
anyways, let me make a very quick this comparison between Hamas and Israel. On the one hand, Israel recognizes the right to self-determination of Palestinians. It recognizes the right to have independence, to have a state of their own. It goes after Hamas terrorists and it warns Gazans. On the other hand, the Hamas does not even want Jews to exist. On the other hand, Hamas makes human shields out of innocent people and goes and specifically targets Israelis who are civilians. But having said that, let me say one thing to Mohammad Najib. Mohammad Najib, you all keep talking about proportionate response. If you talk about proportionate response, should the proportionate response now be that in response to Hamas, Israelis should go find a rave party in Palestine, which I think will be a difficult task, find women there, rape them, maim babies, burn people, kill people, take 200 hostages? Because if you're talking about proportionate response, this would be proportionate response to Hamas. The fact is that Israel doesn't do proportionate response. Israel is going after terrorists. Your Hamas went after innocent civilians.
Okay, Mr. Mitra,
so therefore,
you're not going to get a response. You're not going to get a response because the argument is very strong. Mr. Mitra, very quickly, yes.
They keep talking about Palestine. Has anyone ever heard of a king of Palestine or a leader of prime minister of Palestine before 1948? How do they never exist? How is it that the Jordanian annexation of the West Bank in 1915 is not occupation? At that point, they were all very happy to identify themselves as Jordanian.
So then you should have spoken against Vajpayee.
How is it that
you should have spoken against Vajpayee? You should have spoken against Nehru.
Well,
they were all wrong.
Well, one second. Let's not speak over each other.
Right.
Okay, let's move on. Yeah. Let's move on. Yes, Mr. Mitra, finish your point.
So with all due respect, what land exactly?
Exactly.
What land are we talking about? This has to be a carrot and stick policy. And why is more and more land coming under control? It is precisely because the Palestinian Authority refused to negotiate.
Okay, you know what worries me? Viewers, you know what worries me? What worries me is the Indian response here. Indian Muslims who are willing to listen to their leaders who are platforming the Hamas in this country. That's what's worrying me. That's a threat closer to home. Think about that. Why should that be happening? Think about that, viewers. I want to go across now. Thank you, everyone. Shahzad Poonawalla will be joining us for the debate on Delhi's pollution, but I want to go across to Yaakov Amidror, former National Security Advisor for Israel and Senior Fellow of the Jerusalem Institute of Strategy and Security. You've, of course, served under Mr. Netanyahu. And I want to ask you a straightforward question, Mr. Amidror. Given the mounting civilian casualties in Gaza, has the time come for Israel to decrease the intensity of its counterattack?
We don't know the number of civilians because the Hamas terrorists are fighting from within the civilian society and civilian places and civilian people. So you know that many people have been killed, but we don't know, you don't know how many of them are civilians and how many of them are Hamas members. We called the civilians to leave the area 10 days ago. For 10 days, we allowed them to move to the safe area, which was designated by us in the south center of the Gaza Strip. So we know that many of them left the area. When we are fighting in the north part of Gaza, the involvement or the mix of the terrorists and the civilians is such that no one can identify who is who. So you don't know the number of civilians, and I don't know the number of civilians.
Well, in the debate just before you joined us, Mr. Amidror, I made that point. I find it quite shocking that it's actually the Hamas terrorists who are hiding in the tunnels and not the population, not the innocent citizens. Whether it was the Blitz, when Hitler was attacking and bombing London during the Second World War, all the civilians were actually going into the underground passages. Even in Ukraine, that is happening, along with government functionaries. Here, the Hamas goes underground and they leave the people on top. Think about why, viewers. Nonetheless, Mr. Amidror, I want to ask you, you're carrying out now, which is an imminent ground operation in Gaza City. How close are you to realizing this objective of eliminating Hamas, and can you even do it?
No, it will take time. We are only at the beginning. We are at the end of the airstrike stage. Now we moved 2 days ago to the ground force invasion. It will take days and maybe weeks to control the area. And then it will take months to clean it from all the elements of Hamas military capabilities. We want to destroy all the headquarters, the facilities in which they prepare the munition, the weapon system that they have, to go after the commanders of the organization and to kill them all. that will take long time. We are just in the beginning.
Well, we are decoding, obviously, the challenges with Mr. Yaakov Amidror, the former National Security Advisor to Netanyahu. And I'm going to ask you, who does Israel think will replace Hamas, sir? Who will govern Gaza? Will it be Israel or will you hand charge to Egypt? What's happening after you eliminate Hamas, if you do, that is, presumably?
We don't know yet. We know one thing for sure. It will not be Hamas. All the alternatives are open. Either it will be controlled by indigenous leadership that will emerge from the ranks. Maybe it will be the PA, which will come back in. They have been expelled by Hamas after the elections in 2006. So I don't know, but at the end, it's the responsible of the people of Gaza, not our responsible. We know for sure we will not let any terrorist organization to control Gaza in the future. This chapter is ended.
Let me ask you.
The barbarian attack of Hamas on civilians in the Israeli side.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Amidror, because this is an important question. You said that you will not allow a terrorist organization to flourish in Gaza. Of course, that's a very important objective. But isn't there a possibility that even a more hardline group could emerge after the Hamas to lead the Gazans?
That's what I said. We will keep the freedom of action in Gaza afterward. We will not let anyone to build any military capability there. When we will have any information about someone or place or attempt to build a military capability in Gaza, we will bomb it, we will destroy it. It's the end of the test in which we gave the other side all the opportunities and we went and we gave them the initiative. No, we will keep the initiative. We will destroy any attempt to build terrorism or terrorist or military capability in the Gaza Strip. So it doesn't matter who will come in after Hamas, military capability will not have.
Yaakov Amidror, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for giving your perspective to us. Viewers, we now understand the objectives that Israel is pursuing in Gaza. That invasion is now imminent, as you've heard the former NSA say to us. We're taking a very short break. When we come up, a deep dive into the pollution crisis in the national capital. Can AAP absolve itself of responsibility? We come right back.
Hello, Moto.